Good morning, Mr. Mabbutt here. What we're going to do this morning in maths is we're going to be comparing amounts using symbols. Now, I thought first of all, what we do before we start on a maths is we just talk about the word symbol and what that means. So, a symbol is something that communicates ideas or important information. I've got some symbols here on the board. I wonder how many of these that you recognise. Maybe you can tell your grown-up what these symbols mean, or maybe the person next to you about what these symbols represent. What do they mean? Excellent. Okay, so we've got the recycling symbol here, first aid, disabled or for use for disabled toilets, disabled badges, disabled car park spaces, no parking. Okay, I've got that one right. Usually this knife and fork represents or means a restaurant. We've got another recycle bin here. Usually the symbols here are used to denote, tell you the toilet. And of course we've got the non-smoking or no smoking symbol here. Okay, so I hope that's useful to help you understand what we mean by the word symbol. So, just going to go on to the next page. Okay, so you should know these symbols already. We've covered these in year one. I wonder if, again, you can turn to the person next to you and tell them what these symbols are and when do we use them. Okay, good. So we've got, of course, our addition symbol here, used to combine two amounts or even more. You can use it for. We've got next to it the subtraction symbol, also known as the takeaway sign, usually used when subtracting or taking one group away from another. And then at the end, we've got the equal or the equal to sign. Now, so I hope you know those symbols already. We're actually going to be using this guy here, the equal sign is going to be coming with us today. We're going to use him. But first what I want to do is introduce you to two new symbols. Now, these two new symbols are called less than and greater than. They're not very memorable. If I'm perfect, I say look a little bit like a tick, don't they? They're not very memorable. So what I want you to do is look at these two symbols, the less than and greater than, and I want you to use your imagination. I want you to use your imagination, and instead of thinking of them as symbols, I want you to actually think of them as, what do they look like? What do they look like to you? They look a little bit like a bit like mouths. Now what I want you to do is think really hard, concentrate, and think of these not as symbols, but as crocodiles with their mouths wide open. So really concentrate now, because hopefully you'll be able to change these in your imagination from being normal symbols to being crocodiles instead. So let's see if that works. Well, there we go. Wow, that was amazing. So what I want you to do is think of these symbols, and that really help us now when we get on to comparing the amounts using these symbols. Think of them as crocodiles with their mouths wide open. Now, here's the greater than crocodile. You can see that the symbol is pointed this way, and the less than crocodile with the symbol pointing that way. Now, important thing is, just like us, just like many animals, these crocodiles like to eat the biggest amount. They're quite greedy, you see. They're quite greedy, so they like to eat the biggest amount, and they usually turn their back on the small or you know the less amount. So. Okay, so here you can see I've got my three symbols. These I'll be included in your home learning pack, or if you want to, you can draw your own creature. It doesn't need to be a crocodile. You can quite easily turn these symbols into bells for shark or for dinosaurs. So I've got here the greater than, less than, and the equal symbol there. So what I'm going to do is, starting off, I'm just going to use these symbols to compare two amounts. Now, when using concrete apparatus, what we really want to do is make sure that we're confident with using these symbols. So I'm not going to go for too large numbers, so I'm going to stick with numbers that are in between 0 and 10. So numbers working up to 10. So here are my first two, and I'm using Numicon this morning. So I've got one piece of Numicon there, which represents the number 5, and one piece there, which represents the number 3. So what I want to do is, in the middle of those two pieces, is I want to put a symbol. So first of all, I'm going to work through the process. So if I use my equal symbol, is that correct? 5 is the same as 3? No, that doesn't make sense, does it? Let's have a look at this one. So 5 is greater than 3. Am I right there? Let's think back what I said. Crocodiles like to eat the biggest number, the largest amount. So yes, can you see here how I've created a statement that makes sense? 5 is greater than 3. Okay, now it doesn't matter what apparatus you've got at home. You can use anything. You can use toys, you can use Lego bricks, you can use pasta, anything you can find. It just helps you to try it in different, what we call varied fluency. So here we've got another one. So I'm using 10 frames this time. I've got 1, 2, 3 in my 10 frame here, and in my other 10 frame I've got 4. So 3 is greater than 4. I'm not sure that's correct, is it? So it's 3. Well, I know that 3 definitely isn't the same as. 3 is less. Ah, yes, that makes sense. 3 is less than 4. 3 is smaller than 4. Okay, so let's have a go at using one last time. So here I've got a piece of Numicon, and I'm going to use 2 different types of apparatus. So I've got Numicon and 10 frame. So I've got here, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've got 4. 4 is less than 4. No, that doesn't make sense. 4 is greater than 4. No. Let's see. 4 equals 4. 4 is the same as 4. So here the equal sign is representing the same as. It's a bit like a balance. So I want to make sure that on both sides of the symbol is the same. And I've done that. We're now going to move on to the pictorial element. So that's when we have pictures of different amounts. Okay, so again, I'm going to use the 3 symbols, but this time, rather than using concrete, I'm going to use pictorial representations. These also will include in the home learning pack. So what we do is each time we choose 2 amounts. Now, we can already see visually that there's a difference in the amounts, but what we also want the children to do is to count them accurately as well. In a little while we're going to move on to using the board, and I will show you how to write, how to draw the symbols as well. But just at the moment we're still going to carry on with the fluency, building up confidence with comparing using the symbols. So I can already see I've got some gnomes here. I can already see by checking that I know that that is a larger amount. But the thing is, I don't know how many are there. So I know that definitely in terms of my symbol, that doesn't work with equals. I know that the amount of gnomes is greater than the amount of lanterns there. But you just want to do a quick touch count. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And I know that I've got here. I'm just going to check, because good mathematician always checks. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know that 17 is greater than 4. What a good thing to do with the symbols, both the greater than and less than symbols, is to use square paper, just because we really want to concentrate on the size. We don't want those mouths, those symbols being too big. Now children sometimes find these a bit tricky, so I'm going to go through how to do this. Now the equal sign is perhaps the easiest one to start with. So what we want there is 2 parallel lines that go across from left to right. As such. Now mine are slightly wobbly there, but you can go and practicing those. Want a nice space in between. We don't want them too close to either the top or the bottom of these squares. So okay, practicing. You can do a line of those. Now we're going to look at the less than symbol, the crocodile mouth, which looks like this. Now this one is the less than symbol. Really need to concentrate on making those lines both go in and out, because otherwise if you don't, it can end up looking a bit like a letter L like this, or we can even have something that's ridiculously big like this that goes outside the square. So a good thing to do is, just while you're practicing, is to draw actually 3 dots. So the starting dot there at the top, going down to the end of the first line, and another dot. Can you see those there? Almost like a triangle. And then it just helps. It's like joining the dots then. So I go down from that top dot, stop. I don't take my pencil off, and then go back. Can you see? And that's something that you can keep practicing on. The same with the greater than symbol. Obviously this time we're going for reverse, so it's dot, dot, dot. If your child finds that tricky, then just do 2 dots at a time. You want to do 1 line and then back out. Okay, so those are the symbols, and really good if you can practice those. Don't worry about practicing yet with numbers, but it's good if you can just work on the formation there and get them the right size. Okay. Now, in your packs, and you've got some work to do in your tables, I've included examples like this. So we're just going to keep at the moment with comparing amounts, and using, when we look at those amounts, we're going to use pictorial again. So here I've got some sweets over here, and here I've got some nice juicy apples. Now, in the middle, I'm going to write a symbol. Now I've left quite a big box there, but if you want to, you can do that smaller when it's on your worksheet. But again, it's really beneficial if I don't just take it on sight that I know how many are there, especially when I've got varying sizes of objects. I really need to be counting them. So here what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just group in, just to help me. I can count them in ones for fluency, or I can count them in twos. I might speed up. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and that's represented by 1 10 and 2 1s. That's the numeral to go there, and then I'm going to compare this side. So 2 apples, 2 apples, 2 apples, 2 apples, 2 apples. Group them each time. 2 apples, 2 apples, 2 apples. Now what you can do is just put a dot in there, know which one to tick. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, represented by 1 10 and 6 1s in the numeral. So then I need to think, okay, so looking at the two amounts here, 12, 16. Now I need to compare them. I've not got here my less than. Is 12 less than 16, or is 12 greater than 16? Okay, so you think about the crocodiles there. Just have a think for a moment yourself. That's right, 12 is less. 12 is a smaller amount than 16. So I'm not going to use the greater than symbol, I'm going to use this less than symbol, because I want my crocodile to be eating the larger number, which is the largest amount, which here is 16. So he's turning his back. So those symbols again, so I showed you to do 3 dots, and just join them up, and then I've got my symbol. So 12 is less than 16. Comparing two amounts, but this time for varied fluency, just to get us help us with our understanding of the symbols, we're going to use 2 different types of equipment. So here I've got Numicon representing a number, and here I've got a number represented, or an amount represented, using apples. So what we'll do first of all, just work out what those representations are for which number. So hopefully you'll recognise this blue piece as being, that's correct, 10, and then we've got a 3 piece there. So we know that 10, and counting on from 10, 11, 12, 13. So 1 10 and 3 1s, 13. So let's have a look here, these apples. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to group them in twos, just so to speed up the process. So I've got 2 apples, 2 apples, 2 apples, 2 apples, 2 apples, 2 apples, and just one by itself. So let's count up with me. Let's count in twos. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and one more. 12 and one more makes 13. So that's 1, 10, and oh. So I've actually got, on this side, I've got the number 13 represented by Numicon, and this side, I've got the number 13 represented by apples. So which crocodile I'm going to use? 13 is greater than 13? 13 is less than 13. What symbol do I use? It's exactly the same. Ah, that's it. Completely forgot there for a moment, because we're not using it in a little while. It is our equal symbols here, representing a bit of a balancing act, because on both sides the amount is the same. So 13 is the same as 13. Fantastic work. And when you're finished with the pictorial, the next stage you're going to move on to is comparing numbers. So similar to before, we're using exactly the same 3 symbols: greater than, less than, and equals. But what we've got here is we're moving on to the abstract element, where a numeral or a number represents an amount. So we need to have that understanding of what each numeral represents, so that we are able to compare them. So here I've got the numbers 4 and 9. So quite straightforward, But a good thing to do is just to, like I said before, a good mathematician always checks. You can use jottings. So what I'm going to do here is to represent the number 4, I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4 circles there, 4 counters. I'm going to do the same next to number 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now your child might already say, well, I know this already, that 4 is a smaller number than 9. But it just helps, especially when we start to move on to larger numbers, again with the confidence. So 4, is 4 greater than 9? Definitely not. No. 4 is less than 9. So do it again with my 3 dots and then join those to make my less than symbol. Okay. So now that you've had a chance to explore using the greater than, less than and equal symbols to compare concrete objects and pictorial representations, we're now going to move on to more abstract. We're going to have a go at a real challenge here. So we've got a statement that's already been started. Can you see? So we've got a numeral here, we've got the number 12, and we've got a crocodile here, the symbol greater than. But what we haven't got is we haven't got anything at the end here. So what we have to do is we have to complete this statement. So 12 is greater than something. Okay, so what you have to do is use your mathematical understanding to know what this number here, the number 12, represents. Again, it might be worthwhile just quickly drawing. I'm going to do jottings. I know that if I do my tens and ones, I know that 12 consists of 1 10 and 2 ones, because we did that work last week on representations and grouping. Just make those dots a little bit bigger for you. Now, I've got to think of this side. What can go here? Well, what do I need to do? Well, I know that the crocodile's eaten a large number, so I need to know that on this side, I need to be thinking of an amount or a number that is smaller than the number 12. Okay, so I've actually got quite a few numbers that I can think of. So it is, with this statement, you can do it quite a few different ways. But I'm going to go with, I'm going to think about the number 12, but I'm going to think about 1 less than. Go back to the work we did the other week about 1 more than, 1 less than. So I know that 12, so 1 less than 12. If I think about drawing my 12 here, and then I'm just going to use my rubber tool here just to rub one away. So I know that I'm left with 1 10 and 1 1. 10 and 1. So I know that 12 is greater than 11. But like you say, you could do this with lots of different numbers, couldn't you? So this is the challenge now, having a go at completing statements like this, given one part, and then using your mathematical understanding to see if you can complete it. Okay, right, now here comes a real challenge. So we're going to go one more level up. What we're actually going to do is we are going to use the mathematical symbols of greater than, less than, to compare not just one number, not just 2, but 3 numbers now. So can you see here, we've actually got a statement where there's one number already given. So we've got the number 11 represented by 1 10 and 1 1. So I'm going to draw that there so I can see that. Now, what I have to do is look at what symbols I've got, and if you spotted, both of those crocodiles are the same. They are both less than. Okay, so I'm going to move. There's different ways you can do this. I'm saying this is the right way to do it, but I'm actually going to start at the centre and look at, first of all, I know 11 is less than a number. So 11 is smaller than a number. I'm going to use that first of all to complete the box here. Now you could have started this way as well, doesn't matter, because you start with what you've already been given. So 11 is less than. Well, 11 is less than, 11 is smaller than. Let me think. I could do 1 more than 11, so I'm going to copy that. So I've got 1 stick of 10 and 1 1, and add 1 more on. I'm thinking I might go for a slightly larger number here, a number that's even bigger than that. So I'm going to do 1 stick of 10 and 5 ones, which represents the number 15. So let's just see if that makes sense. 11 is less than 15. Well, we know that 11 is smaller. Now I'm going to go onto this side here and think that something is less than 11. So I need to use my knowledge of the number 11 and think of numbers that are smaller or less than the number 11. So let's think I could do 1 less, that which would be That's right, number 10. But actually, I'm going to go, I know this is a 2-digit number, so I know that numbers that are less than 10, 1-digit numbers, I've got quite a few of those I'm going to pick from. And I think I'm going to do the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, represented there by 6 ones. So, let's see if I'm correct. 6 is less than 11, which is less than 15. Okay, so you can see that we've had a go now at completing, not just comparing 2 numbers, we've had a go now at a real challenge of comparing 3 numbers. So hopefully you'll be able to have a go at that yourself now.